In feudal Japan, there was a young samurai named Yuki who wanted to become the greatest warrior in the land. He spent his days mapping out elaborate strategies and imagining the honor he would bring to his clan. He devoured stories of famous battles and visualized his own inevitable victories. But when it was time to pick up a wooden sword and actually sweat, Yuki stayed seated. Years slipped by. While Yuki sat comfortably with his grand visions, younger, less ambitious warriors who simply showed up to the dojo every single day quickly surpassed his stagnant skill level. His dreams became a trap. In fact, the more he spoke of his plans without acting, the more his mind rewarded him as if he had already achieved something. His identity as a dreamer gave him the feeling of achievement without the pain of effort. His unexecuted ambition left him completely stagnant, outmatched, and entirely unprepared for real combat. Every morning, he found a perfectly logical reason to delay. The weather was too damp, his energy was slightly off, or his training plan needed one more round of revision before he could officially begin. This exposes the gap between desiring a specific outcome and tolerating the daily, often boring discomfort required to actually get there. When we set massive, distant goals, the sheer scale of the effort feels overwhelming. We naturally avoid the small, immediate steps by convincing ourselves that we are still deeply engaged in the preparation phase. Telling yourself you will start once you feel motivated hands the entire trajectory of your life over to a passing mood. You end up waiting for an unpredictable emotion that may never arrive. We believe we need a sudden spark of inspiration to act, and that action will eventually yield success. Waiting for that spark is exactly why we procrastinate. Waiting to feel perfectly energized guarantees you will choose the path of least resistance. Centuries ago, swordsmen like Miyamoto Musashi approached progress differently. He built his skill through the quiet, unbroken rhythm of daily repetition with basic wooden weapons. The samurai trained because practice was an integrated part of their daily existence. They did not wake up and ask themselves if they felt perfectly ready to swing a sword that day. The true equation operates in reverse. You take the action first. The physical movement creates momentum, and that resulting momentum produces the exact energy you initially mistook for motivation. They systemize this through a concept called Kaizen no Mi, the way of small improvements. By stripping a massive goal down to repetitive microactions, they bypassed the feeling of being overwhelmed entirely. Consider a student too lazy for a grueling morning session. Instead of skipping it, he commits to practicing one single tiny sword form. His peers might laugh at the seemingly useless effort. But by showing up and executing that one tiny movement every single day, the physical motion bypasses his resistance and becomes completely automatic. Over months, those compounding microscopic actions build a dense layer of muscle memory. When it is time to learn advanced techniques, his body is already conditioned to execute them with ease. A tiny, seemingly insignificant step, repeated consistently, will always yield more physical result than a brilliant strategy that remains only in your head. The legendary teacher Yagyu Munenori understood that waiting for the ideal moment was a fatal error. A flawlessly polished blade that is never drawn from its scabbard serves no physical purpose. Munenori warned his students directly. The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath. Researching the best workout routine, buying the optimal gear, and waiting for Monday to start your diet feels highly productive. But it is entirely an act of procrastination disguised as careful preparation. Endlessly talking about what you are going to do tricks your brain into feeling successful, while your actual skills remain exactly the same. Discipline is often misunderstood. It does not mean you suddenly stop feeling tired, afraid, or deeply inclined to avoid the work. True strength is feeling that exact fatigue, experiencing terrible conditions, and choosing to step onto the training floor anyway. The way forward requires you to stop placing your trust in fleeting emotions. You must transfer your trust entirely to your strict daily habits. You gain the power to shape your life the moment you stop saying, "I feel like doing this," and start saying, "I will do this, whether I feel like it or not."